Hello, I'm Chris Barrow with the BBC News. The Ukrainian government has rejected a Russian demand to surrender the besieged southern city of Mariupol. The Deputy Prime Minister Irina Vereshchuk said there could be no question of soldiers laying down their arms. Russia has offered to give fighters safe passage out of Mariupol if they give up their weapons, along with civilians who wish to leave. An advisor to the mayor of Mariupol, Pyotr Andrushenko, told the BBC Russia's promises could not be trusted.
We know there are the situation with the Russian government. When they say about humanitarian corridors, they really force evacuate our people for Russia. So our city is fight with Russia. And we will fight for last our soldiers, I think, because what we can just fight.
The United Nations Refugee Agency says 10 million Ukrainians have now fled their homes because of the war. That's almost a quarter of the population. The refugees have either left the country or sought shelter elsewhere within Ukraine. A spokesman for the UNHCR compared the scale of the crisis to that seen in Syria. Earlier, Nick Thorpe had spent the day in the Romanian border town of Siret, where refugees and aid deliveries cross paths in opposite directions.
Siret stands on the main highway between southwest Ukraine and Romania. But with the Russian offensive apparently stalled, the number of new arrivals has fallen in the past days. Aid organisations are taking advantage of the lull to send supplies into Ukraine. A long line of trucks delivers 15 ambulances from Italy. Nearby, in the city of Suceava, the European Union has set up a logistics hub to funnel medicine and other humanitarian supplies into Ukraine. Much of that will enter through the Siret crossing.
European Union ministers are due to meet in Brussels today to finalise a new European defence strategy. Officials say it will reflect the new realities brought about by Russia's invasion of Ukraine. The Belgian capital is also hosting NATO and EU summits later this week, where the focus will be on maintaining a unified response to Russian aggression. From Brussels, here's Jessica Parker.
This EU security strategy was being worked on long before the Russian invasion, but officials say it will reflect new realities. It's expected to lay out ambitions to boost member states' coordination and capabilities in defence, a cause championed by France in the quest for greater European autonomy. Some countries are anxious, though, that nothing is done to undermine NATO. Leaders from the military alliance, including Joe Biden, will meet here on Thursday. The US president is also due at a gathering of EU leaders.
President Biden will attend both summits in person. This is the World News from the BBC. Hong Kong's leader has announced a wide easing of COVID restrictions from next month. These include ending the ban on flights from 9 countries, including the United States and Britain. Carrie Lam also said plans for mass COVID testing were being suspended. Ms Lam said an easing of restrictions was important for the socio-economic development of the territory. US officials say the Biden administration will officially declare the violence committed by the military in Myanmar against the Rohingya minority to be an act of genocide. The Secretary of State, Antony Blinken, is expected to make the announcement when he visits the Holocaust Museum in Washington later on Monday. A United Nations delegation is beginning an assessment of the state of the world's largest coral reef off the western coast of Australia. The UN last year recommended the Great Barrier Reef be added to the World Heritage Committee's in danger list. The Australian government lobbied against such a move. Phil Mercer is in Sydney.
Australia is rejecting assertions that it's not doing enough, saying the reef is the best managed reef in the world, and it's working in collaboration with farmers, with scientists, conservationists and others to ensure its future well-being. Essentially, this UN monitoring team will be looking at macro threats, that's the impact of climate change and warming temperatures, and also micro threats, more localized threats to the reef, including industrialization, pollution and overfishing.
The Tunisian president has said everyone will have a chance to comment on his proposals for political reform. Kais Saied, who suspended parliament and seized executive power last year, said he would hold a referendum on constitutional change in July. Mr. Saied's comments came after thousands of people protested in Tunis on Sunday, some shouting, "Bring down the president." BBC News.